Reverend Dr. Raymont Anderson is an ordained Centers for Spiritual Living minister serving the CSL Centers for Spiritual Living Greater Baltimore community as our spiritual director. As a lifelong learner with a passion for self development, personal transformation, transmutation, and transfiguration, he has frequently been referred to as a Renaissance man and visionary New Thought leader who makes complex metaphysical concepts readily understandable and applicable. His mission is to live, move, and be an active member of society who serves to educate, elucidate, and emancipate people and communities to awaken and empower themselves. Authentic, compassionate, transparent, inspired, vibrant, and empowered is what Active stands for. And he continues to live his bliss as a teacher, minister, author, workshop and seminar facilitator, visual artist, ASL interpreter, and ASL performing artist, mentor, father, grandfather, and more. I give you Reverend Dr. Ray.
Welcome to the temple. So I'm not going to read all of this. I just want us to be mindful of this idea that there are all kinds of messages, overt, covert, subliminal, about judgment and criticism of our body. And it's extremely important, not just from an emotional level or an intellectual level, but it's important from a spiritual level that we discern those messages in order to live the most effective, authentic, empowered, audacious, unapologetic life that we possibly can. So today, let's dive in and explore. But before we go any further, I want us to be absolutely clear about something. Are you ready? Absolutely clear, beyond a shadow of a doubt. There is a mind-body connection. Simply because, now, yeah, we could go all biological and chemical, but simply because, as Eugene said, there is only one mind, and that mind is God. And that mind is everywhere, every when, everything present all at once. So clearly there has to be a mind, a consciousness that is connected in, through, and as the body. So it is important for us to recognize that our mental equivalent, the thoughts we think, etc., the body listens to it. Your body hears everything that your mind is saying and thinking. You hear that? I guess I saw some of y'all go, ooh, you clutched some pearls, didn't y'all? Deepak Chopra says, the mind and the body are like parallel universes. Anything that happens in the mental universe must leave tracks, right? It leaves tracks. There's evidence of it in the physical one. We are multi-dimensional, there's intersectionality in all of these ways. And the way the mind intersects with the body and vice versa, it's all a demonstration of oneness. The cells of your body react and respond to everything that your mind says, quote unquote, thinks and believes. For example, the immune system is either boosted or weakened based upon what kind of life-affirming thoughts and beliefs or non-life-affirming thoughts and beliefs. Now, really take that in, because we do have the ability to affect our bodies. If we didn't, then 1-900 numbers, wink, wink, would not be a multi-trillion-dollar industry. But they know that by having certain kinds of things said over the phone, it affects the physiology, wink, wink, of our anatomy, wink, wink, and what the mind sees and recognizes and thinks about affects the body. I used to, in one of my workshops, I used to do this thing where I'd have people close their eyes and imagine someone that they love so much, just seeing them and being around them. And I would have another person watching them to be able to get feedback. And as they're thinking about this person, the other person noticed they would sit up, their chest would open wider, they would smile. Why? Because they're thinking about someone they love. And then I would say the exact same thing. Well, before that, then I would say, now the person is reaching out to give you a hug, and the witness would notice them lean in for the hug. And then I would do the same thing, but opposite. Now think of someone that you really do not like. Think of a Hitler. Think of someone that just the thought of them, literally, just makes your skin crawl. And then the witness would notice them grimace. They would frown. And then I said, now that person is reaching out to put their hand on your shoulder. And the witness would notice the person move their shoulder. So clearly, what is going on in the mind affects the body. A couple of weeks ago, we went over these. If you remember and you were with us, there are neurochemicals. Specifically, these are the happy ones that are released within the body based upon what the mind is thinking, because our emotions rise up from something that we're thinking. So whether they are endorphins, whether it's dopamine, it doesn't matter. The mind, our consciousness, our beliefs literally affect the chemistry of our body. So that being the case, what happens to the body when we are thinking and absorbing the consciousness of, the beliefs of, the thoughts of body shaming, right? Whenever someone thinks, quote unquote, negatively, non-life affirming about themselves or another person, because what you think about somebody else affects you as well, because the thoughts you think about me are in your mind, your temple, your consciousness. So if you think, I don't like Reverend Ray, I don't like gay people. Well, you're marinating your system. I don't like black people. You're marinating your system with those neurochemicals first. So whatever it is you are judging about yourself or another, be mindful what those thoughts are, what those beliefs are. When someone is fat or too fat, skinny or too skinny, tall or too tall, short or too short, whatever it is. I don't like their hair. They're bald. They have a bald spot. They have a pot belly. I have a, whatever that is. Be mindful of, where is it originating? Where did that thought of judgment and criticism originate? Because we could very easily metaphysically talk about the idea of Yeshua, Jesus, in the desert, when the great deceiver, those thoughts, those negative thoughts, those non-life affirming thoughts showed up to tempt, to brainwash, to indoctrinate. Where are those deceiving thoughts in our minds originating? Television, social media, parents, school. Somebody somewhere is convincing us that if we are not the right size, the right shape, the right something, not good enough. Why is the plastic surgery industry a multi-trillion-dollar? Because we are convinced that growing old, wrinkles, I need that facelift and I need the liposuction and, a butt tuck and a tummy. I don't know. There's too many things. I need a nose job and all these things. Why? Why are we not able to simply love ourselves, love our body right here and right now? Breathe. Ernest Holmes says, our body is part of the kingdom of God. Therefore, there is a spiritual pattern at the center of it. Our body is part of the kingdom of God. Okay? And there's a spiritual pattern at the center of it. So what does that have to do with us in terms of a practical? How do we practice this? It's recognizing that every aspect of your body has a specific pattern. Every cell has a pattern. Muscle cells do not look like blood cells. They each have their own pattern. There is a spiritual pattern that is outpicturing as all of these. And as Clarence Mayer in the book Secrets of Metaphysics says, the body is a form through which the life consciousness, spirit, God, expresses. Your body is the very expression of life itself, of God, of source, of spirit. So when you recognize that and you understand that all of this, every aspect of your being, every cell, every hair, every muscle fiber, all of it is the divine expressing itself, then you realize that every part of you must be hallowed ground. Your toenails. See, there was a time in my life where I judged far more things than I do now. And there are things about myself, about my body, that I still wrestle with that area of judgment. My feet are one of those areas. You will not see me walking around with some open-toe sandals. Trust it. Hush, Tracy. I heard you mumbling. Trust and believe you will not. Until such time as I get to the point where I'm like, look, I don't care. I'm going to let the dragons out. Say what you want to say. I don't care. My feet ain't ashy. Right? But there is that aspect of when and where do we criticize ourselves, judge ourselves, and why? Because every part of us, our ears, our earlobe, our pinky finger, our wrist, all of this is hallowed ground. It is all sacred. So why not love it? And I understand you may not particularly care for, your weight or your height or whatever that rash that's showing up. You may not care for. I understand that. And there are things to do regarding that. I get that. But can you not also, while doing what it is Eugene mentioned, exercise, a more effective diet, etc., while transitioning into that aspect of living, why not love yourself now? When I weighed 310-ish pounds and I created this whole thing called metaphysical weight alchemy, one of the very first things was I need to love all 305 pounds of myself. Why should a number on a scale determine if I love me or not? Breathe. Bessel van der Kolk says, the greatest sources of our suffering are the lies that we tell ourselves. The lies we tell ourselves about ourselves and the lies we tell ourselves about others. So I want us to pretend for a second that you're on trial. Now, I already hear you. What am I on trial for, Reverend Ray? You're on trial for your self-judgments, your criticisms of yourself, your lack of self-care. All of that and more has put your faith in question. And the evidence is being presented. The evidence based upon what you are presenting to yourself and what you are presenting to the world around you. Now, based on that, when the jury deliberates, when they go about their business to look at all of the evidence, and then they present it to the judge, what will the verdict be? Will the verdict be one that says, eh, eh? Are you convicted? Will you be convicted to such a degree that it is recognized? Convicted, meaning there is certitude, there is a certainty, free from, or to have less doubt than one may have had. Are you convicted in such a way that it is evidenced by the way you are living that you are a person of faith, that you believe what Eugene meditated, the opening prayer, what Norm sang, what Eugene did as spiritual practice? Do you have a certainty in your bones that this matters, that prayer works, that consciousness shifts form, because form is consciousness concretized? Are you convicted of that? Do you know it? Do you believe it? Breathe. Ernest Holmes says, body expresses intelligence. Its apparent intelligence being lent by the consciousness which permeates it. The body expresses intelligence, and this apparent intelligence is the very consciousness that permeates it. It's like having cologne on. The very scent of consciousness comes off of and is shown up in, through, and as the very intelligence of every cell of your body. Because think about this. If we had to consciously breathe ourselves and beat our heart and digest our food while having a conversation, something's going to get missed. Something's going to get missed. But the body is intelligent enough to know how to breathe while Ray speaks. The body is intelligent enough to heartbeat while Dresden interprets. The eyes are intelligent enough to blink while Eugene meditates, right? Like the body is intelligent enough to do all of these things and take care of all of these things in the midst of living. Why? Because consciousness is intelligence itself. God is infinite intelligence. So, what do you think, feel about your body temple? What do you think, feel? How do you show up about and around all things body centric? Do you recognize and honor your body? Do you tell yourself and tell your body, you know what, body, I appreciate you. I am grateful for you. I accept you just as you are right now. And as Eugene said, look, you can't breathe a breath from 2 minutes ago. So I don't need to worry about my body from 2 minutes ago or 2 minutes hence. Right here and right now, I'm focusing on love and appreciation. And in the next now moment, I may shift something, but I still love and appreciate my body. So right now, while I'm eating Krispy Kreme donut, dipped in peanut butter and smothered with whipped cream, I'm not going to judge myself. I could, and I have, but I'm going to love myself and say, this is what I'm doing right now. And I'm going to sit with, why am I doing this? What's going on? What's causing this? Comfort eating. My feelings are hurt, and this is soothing me. This is easing the pain. But in the next now moment, I choose to contact a practitioner to help me through my emotions. I seek a therapist to help me through my emotions so that I'm not going to Dunkin' Donuts for therapy. But I love myself and love my body no matter what. Kimberly Crenshaw says, to build a world that works for everyone, we must first make the radical decision to love every facet of ourselves. The body is not an apology, is the mantra we should all embrace. The body is not an apology. That is the mantra we should all embrace. My body is nothing that I need apologize for, that I need make excuses for. My body, the very temple of the divine, is not an apology. My body is the very temple of the divine, and it lives, moves, and has its being, divinely orchestrated, sacred in its expression, powerful in, no matter what I am experiencing, it is nonetheless God in expression. Now, this can be very challenging when certain physical things show up, when relatives and family members and friends are going through health challenges. It is very challenging to, even in the midst of a health challenge, to still have love and reverence for the human body, for the divine body, for the body of God living, moving, and having its beingness as you. Because even with whatever that situation, that dis-ease, illness is, even with it, God is still present. The divine is still present. And so in the midst of this, in the midst of my mother experiencing dementia and then making her transition, in the midst of my father having Lou Gehrig's disease and making his transition, in the midst of all of this and so much more, there is still the opportunity, the invitation to recognize God is nonetheless all there is. I will not judge, I will not criticize. I will grieve and I will mourn while still being in a place of gratitude, forgiveness if necessary, and healing. The body is not an apology, no matter what. And and eventually we may even do this book and workbook as a CSL Greater Baltimore book study thing or class or something, because it's an amazing book. Sonia Renee Taylor dives deep into this idea that love yourself exactly as you are, no matter what the colonized standards of society want to lay upon you. Shake that off. It doesn't matter. God is present. Love yourself. Ara says, my temple is my body, my world around me, my altar. My words are spells, every thought and intention, my actions, rituals. To manifest all that will be, I am sacred. I am divine. Breathe. Because I know for some of us, when you hear these words, there's that space that says, yeah, but. Is it time to move the but out of the way? To make space, to make room for the isness and allness of love and compassion, the isness and allness of principle, the isness and allness of God, the thing itself that says, yes, of course, my body, temple, of course, everything around me. This has to be the altar, because if I am the living, moving expression of the divine, then wherever I am, God is, of course. This room must be hallowed ground. It is the altar. Of course, the words I speak are the spells, the things that create. For we have the power of life and death, the power of that which is life affirming or non-life affirming in how we communicate. Breathe. Ernest Holmes says, hey, since we can't walk on water, take a boat. Take an aspirin. Do what you need to do. Stop trying to aspire to compare yourself to, but I want to be able to do what Jesus did. I want to be like Oprah and be rich. But I want to look like him. I want to look like her. I want to weigh what he weighs. I want to have hair like her. I don't want to be sick. I don't want to be poor. I don't want to be black. I don't want to be gay. I don't want to. What do you want to be? Recognizing that God wants to be itself as you. What say you? I want to be the living expression of health and well-being as only I can be. See, Jesus can be Jesus, but Jesus can't be Eugene. Jesus can't be Dresden. Jesus can't be Renuka. So stop trying to be like him. Be like you. Don't be like Mike. Be like God being you. And allow that love and appreciation to rise up, even in the midst of whatever the challenge is. Even in the midst of, but Reverend Ray, I don't like what I weigh. Even in the midst of, love yourself nonetheless. Even in the midst of, even in the midst of, love yourself, honor yourself, nurture yourself. Let your life be the 5 steps of treatment, recognizing, see, when we hear this, and the word became flesh and lived among us, if any of us have a Christian background, we read that or we hear that and we think, oh, Jesus, the word became flesh and lived among us. Yeah, and you are the word. And because you are the word, you yourself are the living demonstration of your prayers. You are the 5 steps of spiritual mind treatment in how you live, how you walk gently and lovingly on this earth. So are you treating, when you treat and move your feet, is it based on judgment and criticism? I recognize that God is all there is, and yet I do not feel sacred and holy, and so I criticize myself. How could I be grateful for? Because there is nothing for me to be grateful for. Because I am riddled with pain and aches and illness, and so there is no gratitude in me. And I will not release this because I know God is not listening to my prayers. Is that what your treatment is? Or are you able to shift and truly recognize God is all there is? And if it is all there is, and it is, then it must be you, even while going through, experiencing whatever condition or circumstance is going on. It doesn't make you or another person any less divine, any less holy. So be gentle with yourself. This week's practice, should you opt to journal and chat about it, when have you punished or cursed your body for not being what you wanted it to be? What was it that you wanted it to be? You wanted it to be healthy or healthier, so you criticized it. You wanted it to be a certain size, so you criticized it. You wanted it to be a particular weight, so you judged it. You wanted it to be a particular shape or have particular abilities, so you cursed it and punished it. Remember, every cell is listening. What are some of the ways that you can today begin to appreciate your body? What are some of the ways that you can nurture your body? Massage, Reiki, yoga, go for a walk. What is something that you can truly do to show yourself that you truly appreciate? I love my body. Even while I'm recovering from surgery, I love my body. Even with this back pain and neck pain from a herniated disc, I love my body. I love my body. And I treat my body as though I and my body are so romantically involved. Ooh, I don't ever cheat on myself. Think about that. You love your body so much that you will not compare it, because then you are cheating. Your body is like, Ray doesn't like me because he wants his body to look like that other person's. Guess I'm going to eat more donuts. Like, really think about that. And then lastly, have a conversation. Oh, no, we're not there yet. I did 4 this week. Ha, ha, ha. Ha, ha, ha. When was the last time that you really clearly received a message from your body, and what was it saying? When did something show up that you were like, oh, what is it? What is this thing going on in my shoulder? What is this? And then you listen to it and realize my self-care is off. I've been shouldering someone else's burden. I've been taking on too many things without caring for myself, and now it's showing up in my physiology. When was the last time your body gave you a message, sent you a text? And then have a conversation with 3 people about what it means to you that your body is the very temple of God, and what it means that your body equates with, it is synonymous with being divine, right? So keeping in mind that your body is not like a hot dog and a hot dog bun. The hot dog being God, your body being the bun. It is simply in, and then it can come out. If God is all there is, then God must be the hot dog and the hot dog bun both. So recognize that your divinity is both within you, it is around you, it is showing up as the very essence of your being. Every cell of your being that makes up your skeleton is God, it's divine, it's holy. Every muscle fiber, all of it. So God is within you, around you, supporting you, because God is ultimately surrounding itself, breathing itself, nurturing itself, praying itself into manifestation. Breathe. Breathe. You are divine. This week's affirmation/declaration, I will say it first, and if you feel in alignment with it, then say it with me on the second go round. My body is the house of the divine on earth. Together. My body is the house of the divine on earth. Breathe. Now, let us anchor in ground, recognizing the isness, the allness of God as every cell, as every part of us, our nerves, our muscles, our organs, this breath, our words, all of it is the divine. And we truly are the very demonstration of our prayers. When we sit to eat, the eating is a prayer. When we are driving somewhere, we are driving. That is our prayer. How do we show up? The prayer, the very divine, living, moving, and having its beingness. Breathe. So I recognize that even though this aspect of what we call Sunday service comes to a close, the manner in which God forever and forever and forever serves itself, acts upon itself, is unending. It is infinite and eternal. And that infinite, eternal presence is exactly what each one of us is. So though this thing called service ends and this live stream is about to end, what I am knowing is that there is no ending to who and what you are. You are an immortal, eternal, and infinite demonstration of the thing itself, life itself, God itself. Breathe. So today, live long, live joyfully, have pride, celebrate you. And with gratitude, I know that the law is already saying, yes, celebrate, yes, love, yes, joy, yes, gratitude, yes, yes, and more yes. And because the law says yes, I already know that from the beginning, opening pre-service meditation, through every song, every word signed, every laugh, every aspect of this, even the technical issues, it's all God and it's all good. And this glorious, great givingness continues to be what it is right now, answered prayer. And so it is. And now it is. Amen. Much love, appreciation, and blessing.